Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is one of those I actually don't intend to making, but it is what it is. So recently I've been having some issues with my F10. I'm just driving along and everything is fine, and then suddenly I'm getting an error message saying something to the extent of fuel supply issue, and a couple of seconds after that the car just shuts off and I roll to a stop. Didn't matter where it was, so it happened on the freeway, which is not ideal. And yeah, I'm gonna address this today. Fuel supply issue can of course be the high pressure fuel pump or the low pressure fuel pump, or what I believe it is in this case, the fuel pump control module. So I'm just gonna show you how to change that. It's fairly simple. Before I get into this, what did I do once the car stopped? Simply, you have to wait for the systems to cycle through and reboot again. So what I did, I just closed the door, still sitting like here in the car, just use the key to lock the car. You turn it off and you use the key to lock it. You wait a couple of minutes and then you use the key to open again, and you just hit the ignition button, see if the arrow is still there, and if not, you can just start and go on. But while the arrow is present, the car would crank but not start. And I believe it's the fuel control module. I've seen similar cases, usually in countries where there is more rain. I have no rain down here in California, so I don't believe I have a water leak issue. It appears that the control module is the culprit. So let's change it, and then I'll see if this error occurs again or not. Also, it's not a permanent error, it just happens once in a while, so it's somewhat hard to kind of track it. So this is the new / used fuel control module, the number on here, and it is located in the trunk down there. Get into this in a second. If you change this module, you will have to code it to the car. I got a used one, which is the exact platform, of course, F10 and also the engine, and I even looked to get the same model year, because then it should be a straight swap. This glue here is probably from the cable that was attached to it. That's sometimes a little bit gooey once the glue kind of dissolves in the heat. It's a little sticky here. So the fuel pump control module, let's use the dirt, take care of this later, is right down here in your trunk under the floor. Should be somewhere around here. So I just open these two 10mm hex plastic nuts, then you can remove the entire floor. You will remove after that these pins here. There are 4 of them in total. If you still have them all, you just use a little tool or like a screwdriver, pull them out, and then this entire part comes out. Now we see all this part. By the way, these are your acceleration sensors for your airbags. Try not to hit them. They're kind of sensitive. This is loose now. Popping these out. Just watch out that you not scratch your plastic here. That's why I'm going to use a cloth underneath and you wedge it out. I need both hands. Give me a moment. And those are 2-piece pins, so make sure you keep them all and don't just drop one in. Once the pins are out, you can just lift up, carefully take it out. If you have the charge port in the trunk, that's going to be a cable you want to remove. There you go. Now you can just take off this plastic panel. I have a battery for the dash cam in here, because BMWs apparently tend to not work well with external dash cams, to an extent that the battery system just shuts it off. I can't move it all the way, but I don't need to. This is all that I need. See, the cable is holding it, and down here, that's the control module. And then I would take the battery negative off, because I'm doing this every time when I work on electronics in the car, even though I'm just taking the plugs off, the connectors off and on. And then you remove the connectors. You have 2 of them here. This is your control, supply and signal, and this one is going to the pump. You have just a simple push pin here, just push it in and pull it out. And then you have 2 10mm plastic nuts on there to take it off. You reverse it back in, put the ground back on, and you're ready to start the car, and it should work. Once the old module is out, you want to check if there's any corrosion in the pins here and also in the connector, because usually what happens is that you have some water leak somewhere, and then people experience problems because in here you have some corrosion, which of course impacts the contact, and that has some bigger consequences. But this car doesn't see any rain, so there's no problem here. So the module is back on, battery is back on, and you're gonna start up, right? Of course the clock has to be reset because I took the battery off, but everything else should be in here. I just noticed the temperature, 42 Celsius. Guess it's called summer. And yeah, this little arrow it shows me, it's simply the time and date. Fantastic. So now, since we've seen that the module works, the car starts, it's all fine, for now at least. Now it's time to put it back together, and since I have the chance, I'm gonna clean all the stuff a little bit and have a clean trunk again. It's simply, you reverse it. First, you put this tray back down here again. I just have to watch my cables. It will pop in a moment. Then you put the cover back on. Don't forget if you have that, don't forget the connector for the charge port, and it just drop in the other cover. Tighten the 210 mils. Put the 4 clips in, and it's ready. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The module, I got it off of eBay, about $70. Prices went up crazy. When I had this error happening the first times, I checked and prices were about 50. That's about 2 months ago. Well, not even, like about 5 weeks ago. And now it's already at 70. And just in case you were wondering how to really install this again, it doesn't really fit properly. At least that's what it seems like, until you start to putting this lip over this edge here, and then you will see it falls into place. That is what has to be done. So this lip pretty much holds this part in place, and then the push pins just secure it. Once you're over here, you'll notice that suddenly it fits pretty well. Unlike over here, we're not finished yet. Let's just finish it. You can see it live. Suddenly it falls into place. Put these push pins in. Try to not break anything. Good as new. Cover on, 210 mils, and you're ready to go. So, and then I thought I'm ready, just that I'm not. Just a couple days after finishing this, I ran into the same problem again, and the car just stalled on me with the same procedure to close it with the key, open it, let the system reboot, then it would drive again. So apparently it's not the fuel pump module, or it could be that this new used one has the same problem. But what are the chances of that really? So at this point I ordered a fuel pump, a low pressure fuel pump, which should arrive in a couple of days, and I will install that in the next video. I will then also install a high pressure fuel sensor, since I already have it from earlier on, and just try to narrow down what really caused this problem. It still happens once in a while. Since this one time it hasn't appeared. But it gotta be something. With a child in the car, I really don't want to stall on the freeway. Having to lock the car using the key. I'm not even certain if the hazard lights remain on once you lock the car with the key. It's a little too risky for me, and it's of course extremely annoying. So having the fuel pump module replaced, next will be the low pressure fuel pump and the high pressure fuel sensor on the rail. If it's not anything of that, I can only think of the high pressure fuel pump, but since the car has power whenever I need it, I don't believe it's dead. So if it's not a low pressure fuel pump water sensor, I probably would go back to get a this time new model and code it. Prices for that are quite crazy, quite out there for what it is. I wouldn't want to go aftermarket. I haven't made the best experience with that. So for now, I just wanted to let you know that unfortunately it didn't fix the problem. I heard from many other people where it worked flawlessly, everything is fine. In my case it isn't, so I'm taking a couple more steps to address this. So I'll keep you posted once the fuel pump comes in, and I will also document that repair, including the high pressure fuel sensor. That will be the next video. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.